So I titled this for a reason. What keeps us from loving ourselves, or the one thing. And this is something I talk about a lot, but it's something I realized in my life. And there's many reasons why a lot of us don't love ourselves. But I think one of the main reasons why we don't love ourselves is because of the external. And what I mean by that, it's because we're allowing something outside of us to control how we feel. We're allowing something outside of us to control everything inside of us, right? We're allowing, maybe it's how someone treats us. And so how someone treats us, because maybe we never felt love before. Maybe we started off behind, right? Maybe our parents didn't show us love. Maybe our parents did show us love. Maybe we got in a toxic relationship. Maybe something happened to us when we were young. And we allow those experiences to determine who we are. As I like to say, we allow that experience to become our identity. We start believing how someone treats us is who we are. We start thinking we deserve to be treated a certain type of way, right? And so what happens is we spend our whole life believing that we are something that we're not. For one, I'm a firm believer in God's word. You have to go to God's word and see what God says about you, right? So make sure you get into God's word. That's number one. And that literally changed my life. When I realized I was created by an awesome God, when I realized that I was not a mistake, when I realized that even I'm not the mistakes that I make, that I'm still loved, that literally helped change my life and help how I operate throughout my life. But the problem is, what happens is we allow these external things. So what are external things? Yes, people is one. Another thing is comparison. We look out and we compare our life. We see somebody else's highlight reel, especially on social media. You might even look at my life and be like, oh, I wish I had the things that Trent has. Oh, I don't have 3,800 people on my live, so I'm not enough. That's absolutely not true. You are enough. You got to stop comparing your journey with someone else's journey. You got to stop comparing your life to someone else's life. You got to stop comparing your race to someone else's race, right? It's their race. It's their journey. And the more you compare yourself to other people, the more you compare yourself to the world, the more you compare yourself to everything outside of yourself, the more you're going to feel less about yourself, because you're always going to find something in the world that appears to be better. And that's just facts. And if we come into our days not fully loving ourselves, you heard me say this 1,000 times before, right? How you treat yourself sets the tone for how other people treat you. How you treat yourself sets the tone for how other people treat you. So if you're not feeling, and people think it's conceited, it's not conceited. Confidence is not conceited. Appreciating yourself is not conceit. Loving yourself is not conceit. Taking care of your life is not conceit. But if you don't set the tone for your life, you allow someone else to set the tone for your life. And what usually happens is we allow a person that doesn't love themselves, right, make us not love ourselves. And that's the problem. We sit there and believe how someone treats us is what we deserve. We sit there and believe what the world gives us is what we deserve. We sit there and believe the mistakes that we made is who we have to be. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the idiot that treated you wrong. You're not. Who you are is who you are. And when you realize that you are enough because you were created enough, does that mean that you can't grow to be better? Absolutely not. You can always grow to be better. There's always a next level to your life. But I need you to understand this. It's hard to get to the next level of your life if you're not appreciating your life right now. I don't care how much pain you're in, how much storms are in your life, how much life seems to suck, how much things aren't going right. I'm a living testament to this. Certain things have to go wrong so other things can go right. Certain things have to end so other things can begin. Certain things have to leave your life so better things can enter your life. So where you're at right now, you got to stop judging your whole life from where you're at right now. This is just a season. And sometimes we keep ourselves in seasons longer than we should be in it. This is just the storm. Sometimes we keep ourselves in storms longer than we should be in it. Sometimes we create our own storms. So just because life sucks right now doesn't mean life has to suck for the rest of your life. And a lot of it is understanding how to love ourselves. When we love ourselves, we say, okay, I'm going to set a standard in my life that I'm not going to settle for. So if you want to treat me a certain type of way, you can try to, but I'm not going to accept it. You can try to give me disrespect, but I'm not going to accept it. You can try to give me less, but I'm not going to accept it. You can try to spread rumors on my life, but I'm not going to accept it because I know who I am and I know and I know the God that I serve, period. That's the way that I think. So when people give me opinions, when people give me criticism, when people give me rumors, when people give me gossip, when people try to give me pain, when people try to give me setback, when this world tries to give me disappointment, I don't believe it. And I just believe this, even a disappointment is nothing but an appointment that's setting me up for a rescue. Even going in a wrong direction, still I can redirect my life and go in the right direction that God has meant for my life. So when it comes to loving ourselves, we have to stop looking out here. We have to stop looking outside of ourselves and expecting someone else to love us. Some of us are waiting on a relationship to feel loved. Some of us are dependent on people to give us our self-love. Some of us are dependent on a relationship, a marriage, a husband, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a dog, a cat, an elephant, whatever. Some of us are waiting on all these things to feel love. Some of us are waiting on a job to feel love. Some of us are waiting on significance. Some of us are waiting for our business to grow, to feel like somebody. Some of us are waiting on a big following, a big platform to feel like we're enough. And if it takes those things to make you feel like you're enough, I'm going to tell you something. You're never going to feel like you're enough, because those things aren't things that should make you feel like you're enough. Right? They should bring some happiness to your life. They should make you feel good. They should make you feel more complete. They should add to your cup, run up over all these things, but it shouldn't make you who you are. It shouldn't make you who you are. If you want to know who you are, you have to go to the creator who created you. That's the way I believe. And so I know what God's word says about my life. So I know that I'm his, and I know that I am loved. And so I should love myself because I was created by a great God. To me, it is disrespect not to love yourself. And trust me, I had to look myself in the mirror and say that, because I was dependent on all these factors in my life to feel like I was special. I was dependent on a relationship. I was dependent on friendships. I was dependent on all these things. I was dependent on how I looked. I was dependent on so many factors in my life to make me feel like I was loving myself. And if you're dependent on these things, you will never get to the point where you love yourself. You gotta love your imperfect self. I'm not talking about the self that's on top of the world. I'm not talking about the self that everybody loves. I'm not talking about the perfection self. I'm talking about the imperfect self. I'm talking about you look in the mirror and you're rock bottom and you still love you because you know your situation is going to change at some point. I'm talking about when you busted up, right? When you busted up, when you got scars, when you going through storms, when you're going through struggles, when your life ain't attractive, when ain't nobody around, you still find the strength to love yourself. That's the most important time you can love yourself. When you can love yourself at rock bottom, when you can love yourself at rock bottom, trust me, there's nothing that can hold back your life. And some of you might be thinking right now, Trent, that's easier said than done. It absolutely is easier said than done. Trust me, but guess what? That doesn't mean that it can't be done. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done. What it means that it has to be done if you want to change and grow your life. You have to figure that out. You have to disconnect your worth from everything that's outside of you. You have to disconnect your self-esteem from other people. It's the reason why it's called self-esteem. It's how you feel about yourself. It's not other esteem. It's not Billy's esteem. It's not Sharon's esteem. It's not your coworkers' esteem. It's not people in the social media comments esteem. It's not your followers' esteem. It's self-esteem. It's how you feel about yourself. And I get it, you're human. You know, it hurts when somebody says something about you or somebody does something. I'm not telling you to be bulletproof with your emotions, but you have to remember facts over feelings. You have to remember these things. Okay, so that's a big key with loving yourself. And I want to talk about that tonight because I see so many people struggling with that. When I ask them the question, I say, why don't you love yourself? And I want you to ask yourself this question right now. Why don't you love yourself? And I can pretty much guarantee you that it's tied to something outside of yourself. It's because this person did this. It's because I don't have that. It's because I don't feel this. And you start to think that you're not enough. And that's not true. That's not true. You are, you always will be enough. And if people can't see that, man, then ain't the people that should be in your life. That's facts. And I always go back to people because I know most of you relationships, right? Whether it's friendships, business-ships, like that's the thing. And maybe for you, it's the relationship with yourself, right? Maybe it's tied to some significant thing. Maybe it's tied to a job title or a position or a platform that you want that. But again, loving yourself has to do with how you were created and who you are. Right? So I need everybody on here to start looking in the mirror. And that's why the Love Yourself Challenge, I made it. I made it because hopefully in these 7 days, hopefully it opens up your eyes. Hopefully it says, oh, I get it now. It's how I treat me. It's how I treat me. And the beautiful thing about that, As hard as it is to treat yourself with respect and to love yourself, as hard as it is to do that, as crazy as that sounds, I know it's hard. I had trouble with that. It's still the easiest thing to do. You know why? Because you are in control of that. Nobody else. People can try to control that, but you're in control of that. You're in control of getting off of here right now, looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I'm proud of you. When's the last time you told yourself you're proud of yourself? You know, most times we go around life beating ourselves up, feeling less about ourselves because we don't have what we think we should have. Because something happened in our past and we're allowing that one chapter or multiple chapters to continue to be our story. When we have the power and the strength to turn the page. What happened is what happened. What happened doesn't have to be what's going to keep happening. What was is what was. It doesn't have to be what is. Who you were is who you were. It doesn't have to be who you are. Just because you're not proud of certain things doesn't mean you can't become a person that you become proud of. But you got to look yourself in the mirror and it starts with you. No pun intended. Actually, pun intended. It all starts with you. You got to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm proud of you. Everything you've been through, you still here. I'm proud of you. All the losses that you had, all the setbacks when you were supposed to be counted out, when you were counting yourself out, you know what? I'm proud of you. We got to stop finding reasons not to love ourselves. We got to stop finding reasons to tear ourselves down every single chance that we get. And I'm not talking about the people right now. I'm talking about ourselves. And you got to start appreciating your life. Like the comment I seen you raising 4 kids. Appreciate that. That takes a strong man, a strong woman to do that. But those are things that we overlook every single day. Because those are things that aren't praised on a regular. We think we got to do these crazy big things and we got to have, you know, these big platforms and all this stuff to feel special. Why? My life changed when I felt special about my life at my rock bottom, not when RehabTime grew across the world. That's cool. I'm glad it is impacting people, but that didn't make me feel special about me. I started feeling special about me when I realized I was a unique individual. There's not another Trent Shelton on this earth. Just like there's not another you on this earth. And when you realize that, when you realize the miracle in that, some of us, we search for miracles. We search for heroes. We search for inspiration. We searching for all these things that if we just look in the mirror and stop for a second, you can find that in you. You can find the hero inside of you. You know how you're a hero? Because you still here. And I don't know everybody's story, but I know everybody in here got a story. I know everybody in here has overcome something. That's what a hero is. Somebody who overcomes something. That's what a warrior is. Someone who overcomes something. Why are you still searching for a hero outside of here when you should be finding a hero inside of here? Someone special? Listen, I'm glad that you're on here. I'm glad that you think I'm special. That's great. I'm thankful for all of you for thinking that, and I appreciate it. But what would make me smile even more, my heart, is when you start to find your specialness in yourself. When you start to look in the mirror, and even through everything you're going through, you still see that. Even in the rain, you still see that rainbow. Even in the struggle, you still see the strength. Even in the rain, right, you still see the sunshine coming. You see the faith. You see the testimony even in the test. You see the message even in the mess. That's what I hope. Because every single day is building you. Every single day is building your testimony. And listen, sometimes life gets harder. Life doesn't get easier. We just get stronger. We just get wiser. We just get better. And that's what it's about. It doesn't mean that when you make a decision to change, everything gets easy. Sometimes it gets harder. Certain things come against you, right? Things don't work out. The enemy tries to tap you out and try to make you feel like you made the wrong decision by trying to better your life. And most of us, we surrender to that. Most of us, we tap out. We don't keep fighting. This is life. This ain't baseball. Baseball, you get 3 strikes, you out. We in life, keep swinging. But we can't expect to be in the dugout and hitting home runs like a lot of us do. Like a lot of us have the mindset to hit home runs. We want to, right? Whatever that home run is, we're like, man. But we sit in the dugout because we're so afraid to strike out. Because maybe when we strike out, we get laughed at. Maybe when we strike out, people say, oh, I told you weren't good enough. When you strike out and it's like, oh, you weren't lovable. And maybe that strikeout is a failed marriage. Maybe that strikeout is a failed dream. Maybe that strikeout is a bad friendship. Maybe that strikeout is a addiction. And we feel like just because we're missing, just because we're missing pitches, right? The thing about life is that you can never strike out. You can continue to stay at the plate. And you got as many swings until God calls you home. So why not keep swinging? And listen, you're going to miss some things in life. It happens. I miss things in life. I still make these mistakes in my life. I still have my battles in my life, my silent battles that nobody knows about. Even the closest people don't know about. Only people that know about it is me and God. Right now, release those silent battles. There's things I'm still trying to work through as a human being, just like everybody else, just like you. But just because I'm going through something, it doesn't mean that I'm less of a human being. It doesn't mean that I'm not powerful. It doesn't mean that I'm not more than a conqueror. We're more than conquerors because we have to conquer something. There is a breakthrough in everything that we have to break through. And so I just hope and pray that whatever it is you're going through, just know that that thing doesn't define who you are. You've already been defined, right? That thing, it might can kind of shape your identity to everybody else, but your identity has already been set. And a lot of times it's about unbecoming. Unbecoming. We think that it's always about adding things to our life and, oh, I need this to become this, or I need that to become this. I need that to become more lovable. I need that to become more better. I need that to become more successful. I just need more. And we live this whole life chasing things. We're chasing, and we're just creating a disconnect from our true being, who we are, and our soul. You know, listen, I'm all about growth. Y'all know that. I'm all about becoming the greatest version of myself. But I know a big part of becoming the greatest version of myself is peeling back the layers inside of myself. It's getting back to my root issues, getting back to why I think a certain way. Why do I feel like I'm less sometimes? I feel like I'm less sometimes. Yeah, I do. Mr. RehabTime. I feel like I'm less sometimes. I question God sometimes, even though I'm not proud to say that. I got my struggles sometimes. I got my failures sometimes. I struggle with loving myself sometimes as I'm preaching to you about loving yourself. Right? These are messages that I preach to myself all the time. And so I was like, I got to share it with you guys too. That's why I make these shirts, not because I think they're dope shirts, but to remind myself when I put this on, you got to love yourself. And when I feel secure, when my self-esteem is high, when I feel great about life, it's when I'm doing these things that I'm telling you, right? It's when I'm not trying to seek all these things in the world that the world presents, because this is just fact. The world is always going to present you something. When you get off of here, I can 100% guarantee you somebody's going to present you something, whether it's good or bad. And that presentation, for a lot of us, our identity is wrapped in that presentation, whatever it is. And we think that we are the things and materials that we have. We think we're our job titles. We think that like that's what makes us. That's not what makes you. You've already been made. Stop depending on something to make you when you've already been made. Yeah, that can just add to your life, right? That can just add to your greatness. But you don't need someone's validation. You don't need followers on social media. You don't need people to like your posts. You don't need people, and listen, I get it. It feels good. You don't need that. You don't need that validation because you've already been validated. And I think the more you can understand that, the more you operate in confidence. And I feel like that's when life starts to change. When you're not worried about these things that people judge you for. When you're not judging yourself, when you're not beating yourself up because you're not where you think you should be. And a lot of times it's our own selves that gets in our own way because we think we should be somewhere that God don't want us to be. Maybe God got a different route and a different plan for your life. Not maybe, I know he does. Jeremiah 29:11. I know he does. And so I had to realize that with my life. And even now, like it's hard because you want to do certain things, but God is calling you to do other things at times, right? Like he's like, hold up, I got this, partner. Chill out. Let me get back in control. And so just think about that tonight. I know I talked about a lot. You know me, I'm always going to bounce around. I know I put a title on here and I'm going to go everywhere. I'm just going to follow my heart like always and as real as I can put it. But I just hope that this message tonight, like, really pierced and touched someone's heart in a way that you just start to think about, like, why don't I love myself? And usually it's because of something in our past. Like I said, maybe our parents didn't love us. So we said that since our parents didn't love us, I'm not lovable. Or maybe it's a relationship. Since my spouse didn't love me, and not realizing that they were dealing with their own insecurities because maybe someone didn't love them and they never broke the cycle. So they gave the cycle to you. Then you think that I'm not lovable. Or maybe it was a job that you got fired from. Oh, I'm not lovable. I'm not capable. And we define ourselves by these things, not realizing that a lot of times cycles are just passed on. If someone isn't able to love you, right? If someone isn't able to give love to the world, right? Give love. I'm not just talking about relation, but just give love. It's because they've been a victim of a cycle. It's because they've been given some type of hate, some type of darkness at some point in their life, right? At some point in their life, and they believed it. They believed the lie. They accepted it. They accepted the lie, and that lie became them. They accepted it, right? The failure, and that failure became them. And they allowed that thing over time. They never fixed it. They never uprooted it. They never got rid of it. They never cleansed it. And that thing became who they are. And they never dealt with it. And so how they deal with their pain is that now they want to give pain to other people because they never dealt with their trauma. And now they traumatize other people because their trauma has traumatized themselves and they never dealt with it. And that's what happens with these cycles. And the crazy thing about it is that we believe that we are that. That's why I always told you, like, stop trying to be perfect for imperfect people. We're trying to be perfect for imperfect people. Stop being controlled by someone. Stop allowing someone to tell you that they're not lovable when they don't love themselves. And so when you start to think about that, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. Like, it sucks. But you start to realize, oh, this is not about me. This is more about them. So just think about that tonight. Love Yourself Challenge is not this deep, but the 7-day challenge, definitely, I think you can reflect. That's why I want to talk about this throughout this whole week with loving yourself as you take the Protect Your Peace Day and you think about it, you evaluate it. But I just hope tonight that you uproot some things, because if we don't get down to the root issues, the problems, the insecurities, the struggles, will always find its way back to the surface. It'll always find its way back to the surface at some point. And sometimes we think, oh, let me get a new relationship because I wasn't lovable to this person. Maybe I can be lovable to this person. And then those same insecurities resurface in your next relationship or your next venture or your next journey or your next challenge. And it just repeats the process of life, right? You repeat this process. And so without anything tied to you, just know that you are lovable because of whose you are. I butchered that in English class. Because of whose you are. That was so like butchered. Because you're created by a great God, faith, I believe. You're created by Christ, his likeness, right? Start from there. And if you're not a person of faith, start from the simple fact that who you are, you're created special, right? Where everything you were created from, that's on you. But for me, I'm a believer, right? But just start from there and stop allowing your identity to be shaped and shifted by things outside of you. And it's hard because sometimes my identity gets shaped and shifted, but I always come back to this. And I remind myself and I think about the big picture of life. And I think about my kids and making sure that I don't allow someone else to make me treat my kids a certain type of way because they weren't loved. And so they give me pain or they give me certain things. And then I give it to my kids and my kids give it to. We're living in a world full of cycles of trauma, cycles of hate, right? Cycles of confusion. It's all we're experiencing. And people don't know how to deal with it. People don't deal with their issues. And so what they do is they give it to other people and it spreads. And it becomes this beast that we're living, that we're experiencing. So I just hope that this touched your heart. Sometimes you got to give back to where you started from. And even in my journey with RehabTime, so much has happened that I never planned for it to happen. So much growth is crazy that I never planned for this. I never wanted to be this figure in the world, that people look at. It wasn't my it wasn't my dream, but it was the calling I have for my life. So I'm still trying to adjust and still trying to grow and still trying to learn and figure things out. And it's not easy, guys. I want to just have a transparent moment with you right now. It's not easy. It's a lot of weight on my shoulders. It's not easy. Everybody thinks that you have a solution when I don't. I got so many questions. I told y'all that in my Be Free spoken word. People come to me for answers when I got so many questions. And so how you get a lot of my work, right, is me asking questions with myself. And so I know I can't respond to everybody. I know a lot of you hit me up in my inbox wanting to talk to me personally. I can't respond to everybody personally. I try my best. When I see people in public, I literally stop my day and give you my full attention. I try my best to be in my inbox. I try my best to read comments, but I can't always respond to people, and I'm not God. I just want to tell you that, don't depend on me. I'm a human being just like you. I don't depend on man. I depend on God, right? I don't depend on a social media influencer. I depend on God, right? Maybe some people influencing me and help me, but I don't want to be the person in your life that's the pedestal, right? I'm climbing the mountain with you. I'm right with you. Maybe I've been up the mountain a little bit, whatever, but listen, we all in this together. There's some things that you know about life that I don't know, that I'm still experiencing. I'm still trying to figure out. But I just want to tell y'all, if you don't know, I think you can feel it. The genuineness in my heart and how much I truly care. And if you ever met me, I know you would feel that. But some of you only know me through a phone screen, right? I just want to help people, right? I don't want to be your savior. I don't want to be your guru. I don't want to be your hero. I don't want to be none of that. I don't need none of that. I'm not none of these people that you see online. And so I just want y'all to know that, man. If you ever see somebody say, oh, Trent doesn't care because I tried to hit him up, he didn't respond to me. Charge it to my mind, not my heart. Charge it to that I just can't respond to everybody. But I try my best, literally. I'm a father of 3 kids. A lot of people don't realize that I have a personal life too. And I try my best right now. I'm away from my family just so I can pour into you guys, right? My family understands it. And I'm thankful I have a family that understands that. And just to pour into you guys. But I coach my son's football team, so every night I'm doing that for the most part. We had an off night tonight. And so people don't understand the whole picture of things. And I don't expect you to understand it, by the way. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for you to say, oh, Trent, it's okay. I'm just trying to let you know that I do my best, right? I do my best as far as trying to help the world as much as I can. And it makes my heart smile when somebody says, hey, I watched the video. That's why I make videos. Or I listen to you on Spotify, iTunes, and it touched my heart. My microphone is right here, guys. Let me show you. It's right here. I make all my audios right here. I make a lot of my videos right here in my office. I don't have some big, huge team. I'm not going to front with you. I ain't got some big, huge team. I got a few people on my team, and my team is awesome and great, but I don't have some big, huge team. I ain't, you might see me put with other people, but I'm not, whoever out there that has some huge team. And nor do I want a huge team. I just want to impact lives. I didn't get in this for, anything else but to impact people. And I try my best to. So if I'm not living up to your standards, I'm sorry, but I'm doing my best to be the person that God has called me to be. I'm doing my best to impact the world. And I feel like in the way he's called me to impact it. And I think by the fruit it shows. But, I just always want to touch on that sometimes to let you know that, because it's like everybody's pulling at me. Everybody, everybody. Can you speak here? Can you do this and that? And it's great, but I can't lose myself in helping everybody else. I refuse to do that. And so that's why I talk about, where did protect your peace come from? It came from me losing myself, pleasing everyone else. It came from me losing myself through social media, because I'm spending all night trying to respond to people. I'm doing speaking engagements because I'm just trying to please everybody. Lost myself. So I say, I got to protect my peace. That's where that came from. Disconnect often. Where I always say that. That's where that came from. It's tough. People just say, oh, you're lucky because you have 5,000 people. You have 11 million people on Facebook. Just think about that. That's not easy, guys. It's not easy. I'm blessed and I can handle it because God picked the right soldier for it. And I know he would never put more on my shoulders than I can't handle. And I know he's helping me lift it. And I know he gave me a blessed community with you. That's why I'm thankful for Rehabbers. You guys helped me out so much. You guys helped me so much. But at the same time, I don't want to be looked at as anybody but Trent, the human being. That's why I try to do these live videos. I try to, I don't try to do these to make myself seem bigger than what I am. I don't hire security when I go around to make myself bigger than what I am. Literally, the person you see right here is the person you're going to meet off camera. I'm probably going to be a little bit shyer in person. That's it. Probably won't talk too much in person because that's who I am. I'm reserved. But thank you guys. And I just hope I inspire you to know that you're enough. Like when you look at my journey, when you look at my life from 2009, if you find old YouTube videos, you see me in my mom's house, like in my mom's guest room, making these videos. I got like short dreads and, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I can look at myself and I knew where I was at that time of my life. I was living rehabish. I made a decision to change, but I was still doing some stuff I shouldn't have been doing. I can look at those videos, but I'm proud of that person in that video because if I would have never made the decision to change, I wouldn't be who I am today. And so many people, what happens is they never decide to change because they're afraid of that. They're waiting for the perfect time or they're waiting to be perfect. There's no perfect time. There's no perfect person. You have to literally go through a process, a journey to say, you know what, even though I'm living like this, I'm going to take a step to see if I can live better. And there are going to be times where you're a hypocrite, probably. I'm going to be real with you. I think everybody has been a hypocrite in their life. And if you say you've never been a hypocrite in your life, you've been a hypocrite by saying you've never been a hypocrite, right? We all have had a point in our life where, even on the smallest level, where we didn't practice fully what we were preaching at some point. It could be the smallest thing. And I think so many of us, especially when we start, we get caught up in that. It's like, like I ain't real or whatever. And so you allow your past to control you. You allow the fear of being judged to control you. You never change. I get it. It's not easy because when I made that change, it was so many people telling me like, I know who Trent is. Like, I know what he does. I know who he was. Even today, there's people who know me from 2010, 2011 that will always chain me to that, no matter how much, whatever. But you know what? They knew the old you. They don't know the new you. They knew you. They don't know you. And so just make that decision. Whatever it is, make the decision and start the transition. Make the decision. That's so rehab lingo, right? And start the transition. Make the decision and start the transition. And you can look back over your life and be proud of yourself. You can look back over your life and pat yourself on the back and say, you know what? I made a decision on October 1st, 2019 that changed my life forever. And I was still living certain type of ways. I was probably doing some things that I shouldn't have been doing, but I made the decision to change. Change doesn't happen overnight. Change happens over time. Change doesn't happen overnight. Change happens over time. And when you look back, you can be proud of yourself for making that decision because you've become a new human being. You become renewed. Your heart is renewed. Your mind is renewed. Your soul is renewed because you made a decision in the midst of your struggle. You made a decision in the midst of your imperfection. Man, I'm preaching to somebody tonight. You made a decision in the midst of your struggle and you made that decision. And so don't allow people, and I get emotional on this part because there's so many people out there, and this is how you know this stuff is real for me, because you can't fake this. You can't. But I get emotional because there's so many people out there that will never meet the greatest version of themselves because they allow all these external things to control their life, right? They're so afraid of what people are going to say, not realizing those people that are judging you are imperfect too. Those people that are judging you, wishing they can change, but they don't have the strength and the courage to make the change. So they keep you from your change so they can feel comfortable and they don't feel guilty by not changing their life. And there's so many people that will never be free, even though they can be free by making the choice, right? By making the choice, they can be free. There will be so many people that will never be free because they decide to just stay controlled by their past, man. And there's so many people who need your story. When I look back, I get emotional because there was a time in my life where that past and everything else was pulling me back. And there's times even now where my past will show up in my life at some point. It does, right? For whether it be whatever it be, people's opinions, whatever, it'll show up. But I'm so glad that I made a decision in 2009 to say, you know what? I get one life. I got a son, and I want to be the best man I can be for my son. That's what helped change my life, was literally my kid and me saying, I want to be the best I can be for Tristan. And I didn't know it would turn into all this. I didn't know it would turn into, me being considered whatever people consider me in the world as a speaker or whatever impactor. I didn't know. All I knew is what I didn't want to experience in my life no more. All I knew is where I didn't want to stay in my life no more. That's all that I knew. All I knew is I wanted to be used by God. And I want to be used in the way he wanted to use me. And I got a lot of flack, and I still get a lot of flack for it, because I'm not your preacher that talks a certain way. I'm not your preacher that wears a suit. You know, I'm not even a preacher, you know, in the world's eyes. I'm just a man who cares, right? I'm just a servant. And that's all that I want to be. And so you get a lot of people who judge you because you're not doing it the way they think you should do it. You don't look the way they think you should look. When I first started speaking, it was like, oh, you don't wear a suit and tie, you have tattoos, you have dreads, and you don't talk proper enough, or you don't use a certain cadence when you speak, and all this other junk and fluff that really doesn't matter when it comes to impacting lives. That's why I said in my book, and I'll leave on this. I said in my book this, and a lot of people, this is probably the main quote that people take from The Greatest You. You don't have to be perfect to help people. All you have to do is be real. All you have to do is be real. That's it. Right? And progress. And I'm not saying be real and just say, oh, I can do whatever in my life and I'm just going to be real and just, no, you got to progress, but you don't have to be perfect to help people. And I want that when I leave this earth, when I die, I hope people play this video back and people realize, like, man, this is the impact that I want to leave on people. I wanted to take the average person, right? The normal person that nobody knows. And I want to let that person know that you are enough, that you're capable to do anything God has called you to do, that you should love yourself and you can be you. You don't have to fake it. You don't have to front. You ain't got to be some salesman. You ain't got to be what this social media world has turned into. All you got to be is who you are, man. That's it. When you look at my platform, literally the thing I'm proud of the most is I am me. I ain't never had to change who I was to get where I'm at today. Never. Didn't have to do it. Like, I can sleep at night. I'm comfortable. Even when people disagree with certain things that I do or say, or you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, whatever. I don't care what they think. I can sleep at night because I am me. And it's awesome. It's awesome. I don't have to turn off a switch. Like, I don't get on stage and turn on a switch. I might be more passionate like now because my energy's up, but I don't turn on a switch. There's no switch to turn on, right? No switch. This is who I am. And I want you to know that you're enough and you're loved, all right? I got to get off of here because, listen, man, this is just, I'm overwhelmed right now. And I've been on here for too long. You guys have literally changed my life. You guys have taken my message across the world, of course, with God's help. But you guys have taken my message across the world, so I'm thankful for each and every one of you. And I try my best to pour into you guys as much as I can. There's a lot of people in this world that won't come on live, right? Because they want you to buy something to watch them live. You know, I want to come on live as much as I can and give you value as much as I can. So peace out, man. I love you. Let's get it.